Leah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you in the studio today.
You're welcome.
So for those who don't know you, just tell us who you are and the company you work for.
So I'm Leah. I'm a home manager at Cayton View Care Home in Scarborough.
Now, I've been there. It is quite a place. It is stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about care homes, you realise they are very different. But before we get into that, I want to know a bit about you.
Yeah.
What drew you into the care industry?
It wasn't intentional. I left school, went to college, did a sports course. I was heavily into sport and I thought, bit of extra money, I'll start caring. So I did care in the community, hated it. I thought, this isn't for me. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I loved meeting the elderly. I just didn't like that job. We were very governed by time. We had half an hour to get in and out of care, to care for the client. I just didn't like it. We felt really rushed, really insensitive. So I thought, I'm going to try a care home. And that was it, when I was 18.
And that is how it started.
And that's how it started. I never really thought seeing it as a career at that time. I just thought it's a bit of extra money. I quite enjoy it. Stick at it until I find something that I really want to do.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes we're led into careers totally by accident.
Yeah.
And there are some stereotypical things that people say about, working in care homes and things.
Yeah.
But you've broken that mould because you're now sort of helping to manage. What is actually your role?
So I'm the home manager of a 66 residential care home, which is also a dementia home.
And I would imagine that, like, in those early days, like you said, 18 years old, you would never have thought that you would have progressed your career like this.
No. I always loved the role, always enjoyed it, and I kind of find myself leaving care, but I was always brought back to it. And I've worked in every role within a care home. So I started as a carer, progressed to a senior unit lead, deputy manager, and now a home manager.
I mean, that must come with some quite big responsibility, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's scary, but it's a rewarding role.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I know quite a few young carers, just from my church background, and a lot of them at the beginning they sometimes find it quite difficult to navigate their way through.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to learn, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, to me, when I listen to them, it's a bit like on a par with nursing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think some people have got this misconception that care's easy. And, anybody can care. They can't. You have to love the job. I don't know. I think 18-year-old, when I went into care at 18, it was just a bit of pocket money. But I think it becomes more than that.
Most definitely. And I think the thing is as well now with the care industry, the people think, it's a job that I can just fall into. But you've got to have, I believe, a specific set of skills.
Yeah.
As Liam Neeson would say, you need these skills. What type of personalities do you think really suit it?
You need to be thick-skinned. It's quite, I would say it's quite emotional.
Yeah.
You need to be able to deal with not only the resident but also families, and it's not easy. It's quite a difficult job to get into, and to enjoy it, I think you need to see past. At the end of the day, working in a care home, you're making somebody's end stage of life the best that you can. So really, they go into a care home to end their life effectively, and I think you need to see past that.
Just thinking of Cayton View now. I mean, it is a beautiful place.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I said to somebody, I said, if I was going to end my days, I mean, what a beautiful place. Just sum it up to people who've not been.
It's like a 5-star hotel. There's not a day goes by they can kind of describe as boring. There's activities going on all day. There's always something for the residents to do. It's just a lovely environment. Very different to how care homes used to be.
I mean, do you think that this is something that Cayton View has really taken into consideration? That they want this philosophy of, do you know what? You're going to have some of your best days towards your end days.
And that's so true. That is so true. And I think the generation that we've got in the care homes now, they're the generation that put their loved ones into care, the mums, the dads, and the care homes it was a very different environment to what it is now. I think there's a misconception of care homes are prison-like, and they're a smelly environment, and the amount of people that have said, oh God, I think once you walk through the doors and see it's like a 5-star hotel, they're like, I can't actually believe this is what care homes are like now.
And as someone who's seen a lot of the footage and everything from the team that's been, I have to say, they're having the time of their lives.
Oh, they have the best time. They have a better social life than me, let's just put it that way.
I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? When people are told that they've got to go into care, you know, how do you navigate that? What are some of the common concerns for the residents and the families, do you think?
I think the biggest concern for families is, will my loved one settle? And if I'm quite honest, we don't know. You know, we don't know how they're going to take to that environment. It's just about us as carers doing the best we can to ensure that, you know, we've given the best opportunity to settle. I think there's a lot of background work that people don't see when somebody comes into a care home.
Yeah.
You know, it usually starts with a phone call, you know, my loved ones were really struggling to care for them. Can we come and have a look around? And all I say is to people that are looking for care is, look, you need to go and visit as many care homes as you can and get a good feel for them.
And I would imagine that, you know, people have those concerns, and then that's your job to try and alleviate. Would you say to people who come, ask questions?
Yeah, so we do a pre-assessment before anyone comes into the care home, and that's to see if we can meet their needs and they would be happy in our environment. And on that pre-assessment, it's everything from, you know, personal care, the background, you know, whether married, children, where they grew up, so we get a better understanding of that person. But I do say to family members as well, you know, any questions, as silly as that they may be to you, ask them.
Because they're only going to know those answers, and they have got to have their minds set at ease, because you've not just got the person, but it's the family as well.
Yeah. And I always say, if you're going to visit a care home, don't ring ahead. Just turn up.
Is that then a philosophy then that you have, that your home is their home?
It is their home. It is. We're working for the resident. You know, we're working in their environment, and we just need to make it as comfortable as possible and, you know, as homely as possible.
I mean, you talked a little bit earlier about the misconceptions. There are quite a lot.
Yeah, there is.
And do you think that other establishments that have maybe been in the media, who have fell far short of the mark, have done a lot of damage to the industry?
Absolutely. And I think it isn't even that many years ago where the care homes... So now my care home's purpose-built, so it fits, you know, CQC standards, who we're governed by. However, even when I first started out in care, the care homes were old manor houses that have been converted to care homes. There was no lift access, or if there was lift access, there were 2-person lifts, there were stairs everywhere. The room wasn't big enough for the wardrobe to be in the room. There was a single bed and that was it. There wasn't a bathroom in the room. Now they're all en suite. Very different. And it wasn't, I would say, that was only maybe 15 years ago.
And that's very difficult, isn't it? Because like you said, you know, these places weren't designed to be care homes, and then people have made them into care homes. And then we've also got all the issues with staff.
Yeah.
You know, some people have done really awful things.
Yeah.
And that in the industry, I think it sets a seed in certain people's minds. They don't see the good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it a shame that we don't celebrate?
Unfortunately, yeah. So it's always negative press that you see on the news. There's hardly ever any good news stories, which is such a shame, because a day in a care home, it's amazing. absolutely amazing. They have, so many activities going on. If there's anything that they would like, we do try to cater for everybody. Day trips, holidays if they want. Yeah, amazing.
They really aren't thinking of their job as money.
No, and you can't. I think a job role as a carer is so underrated. And I think through COVID times, I actually thought there was going to be a bit of a switch up. They were all clapping for carers in the end, and I thought, you know what, we've turned a corner. Yeah. But no, it just didn't happen, unfortunately.
How do you go about finding good staff, though? Are there people that you get and you just think, no, you are not suited for here?
Yeah, 100%.
That must be hard to say no to people.
No. No, I don't find it hard. I just think, these people that we're recruiting, they're spending 12 hours a day with the residents, and, the residents have to feel comfortable to, they see them in the most vulnerable place. They need to be trustworthy. They need to be, I don't know, you know, when you're doing an interview with somebody,
you
within
get a
about
gut feeling
2 or 3 minutes whether they're going to make a good carer or not.
Whether they've got the best interest of the residents at heart.
Mm.
I mean, because residents, I should imagine, I've never worked in one, but I know I would get attached very quickly to people, and it must be hard dealing with that attachment sometimes.
So hard. It's so hard because I think the residents start to see us as family.
Yeah.
Some of the residents, they've never had children, for whatever reason. They've maybe got a niece or a great niece or nephew that lives away. So, and all the personal problems are dealt with by solicitors and things. It's quite sad that they've actually got no family, and they look to us as the family.
And that must be lovely, actually, I would imagine, that when somebody is in that situation and they come to you and you can give them family in a weird way.
Yeah. And I think, we had one lady, she came to us for respite maybe 6 weeks ago. I think she'd put her mum or dad in a care home, and she was like, there is no way I'm going to stay in a care home. She was in hospital, and she said, I just want 2 weeks, get my strength back, then I'm going to go home. Within days, she was, I don't want to go home, I'm lonely. She said, she was just like, I love it here. I can do whatever I want. She's joining in the activities. She's got a new lease of life. It's just nice to see her socialising, which she wouldn't have had that at home. She lived alone.
I mean, one of my relations had to have very specific, specialised care.
Yeah.
And there was no way that any of us could have done some of the medical interventions she needed on a daily basis. I mean, you must have personalised care plans for quite extensive needs, I would imagine.
Yeah, for everyone. Everyone's got a care plan. They're all person-centred to cater for that person. But I think when a resident comes into a care home, the family can stop being carers and they can go back to being, a son, a daughter, an auntie.
And I think as well it's having that personalised care, because this person that I'm thinking of now in my own family, she's passed now, bless her, but again, she was very, I am staying in my own home.
Yeah.
And then we said, well, just try it. And no, you're picking me up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then the next day, oh no, she says, oh no, we'll meet again last night. I'm not going home. I love this. And then she was in the hairdressers, and then they've got like a little shop and things, and she was in there. I mean, it's like a different thing. They are not just laid in a bed, are they?
And I think years ago, there used to be the main lounge where they get the residents up washed and dressed in the morning, and they all sit in a circle, and they put a TV on in the corner. Them days are gone. We've got, they get up for breakfast, they can come and have breakfast when they like, they've got their exercise class at 10:30, they've got their lunch, and then in the afternoon the carpet balls, or they go into the hairdressers, or they can go to the bar, the cinema. Such a good social life.
I was going to say, I am almost sold on it myself.
Yeah, I think I'm counting down the days until I can relax and be in a care home.
So obviously they get a real good say in what goes on. Do they ever say to you sometimes, "Oh, we would love such and such," and then all of a sudden you find you and the staff are like putting it on?
Yeah, so we had our first birthday back in December, so we've been open just over a year now. And we had a Gatsby theme, and that was kind of inspired by what the residents had said. And what's that film?
Was it The Great Gatsby?
Yeah. So, and they were like, "Oh, look at the dress." You know, they loved how they were dressed up, and it was like a light bulb moment. Right, that's it. We're going to do a Gatsby theme. So our first birthday was Gatsby themed, and it went down a storm. All the staff dressed up, the residents were dressed up. We had dancers in from the local dance school that did Gatsby-inspired dancing. And it was amazing. It was such a good day. The residents loved it. Yeah, it was brilliant.
I can imagine then that they want more of these themed days now, Leah.
Any excuse for a party. It's someone's birthday coming up, they'll have a cake. So our kitchen staff are really good. So any birthdays or big events coming up, like anniversaries,
yeah,
they'll get a cake made, and we try and make it into a bit of a celebration.
And obviously with people's birthdays, we've got family members as well. They obviously want to celebrate the birthday with the resident. So can they join in? Can they have a meal?
Yeah, of course they can. So we kind of find, we've just had a lady who, she just turned 100. Yeah. She got a telegraph off the King. And she was, the family had asked if we can have, a space where the family could come in, could have like a little party. She was like, "No, I want to spend it with the residents. Never mind my family." So we're like, "Oh, it's fine. Everybody can join in." But no, she was adamant that she just wanted it with her new friends, a new circle of friends.
Yeah, she had her pals there and thought, "No, we're gonna have a party."
Yeah.
My auntie got to the grand age of 107.
Wow.
And she wanted her theme, and she also wanted food, what she wanted. Do you actually help to cater to other people's needs of what the food and their requirements?
Yeah. So every month we do a residents meeting. If they're not happy, they can tell us there, and we can change the menu, or if there's anything in particular that they would like on the menu, they just ask us and they get it.
I mean, when they're new to say Cayton View and they come through the door, it's all a bit bewildering, I think, for a start, isn't it? So how do you sort of help them settle in and integrate and make new friends? Do you think, they've got a nice personality and that'll match them with this person?
Yeah, so it's quite overwhelming, I think, even for the most confident person, a new environment. I think it's bad enough moving home, but when you're moving into a care home, that must be massive. But what I do tend to say is we have coffee mornings once a month that I tend to invite them to. Yeah. So at least they've got a feel for the care home and they're not just coming in blind. They come to the care home, have cake, coffee. They're more than welcome we have singers twice a week. They can come and watch the singers. So it's not as daunting as just going into the care home and you're staying here tonight. If I'm completely honest, it's the families that are more upset than the resident. I think the families see it as I'm dumping my mum, my dad there, and it isn't like that. And I think once they see how happy they are and how settled they are, and they can go back to being a son or a daughter, it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, my neighbour had that, and she's just had that experience of her mum now being in her home. And she said, for the first time, I feel like a daughter again. Yeah. And I sort of get that now. But mum has settled really well. Yeah. And she sees that, I think as well, for the family, it's that peace of mind that someone's always there 24 hours a day now. Yeah. Yeah.
We had a lady who, she's still with us, and she'd come from another facility, and she'd come to us, and she's got dementia, she's still talks about her husband all the time, who unfortunately he'd passed away quite a while ago. And we have a knit and natter class. So all the residents were sat you know, talking, knitting, and she'd asked for some knitting needles and some wool. Sat just knitting away. Her daughter come in, and she was like, "Have you taught my mum to knit?" She didn't even know her mum could knit.
Wow.
Yeah, so she sat there knitting this big blanket, and she said she didn't even know that about her mum. And she said it was just nice to kind of see a mum in an environment where she feels comfortable, we're bringing out the best in her. Yeah.
I think as well with like dementia as well, it's and Alzheimer's and those type of illnesses, it can be very, very affecting on a family.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so you do lose your loved one twice. You lose them when they get the disease, and then obviously when they pass away as well. But I think when they're at home in their own environment, kind of you see a decline, and they maybe start staying in bed a little bit more, they start becoming forgetful, they start getting frustrated, so they tend to, you know, stick to a routine, or they tend to stay in bed because it's just easy for them. Whereas when they're in an environment like a care home, we encourage them to get up, washed and dressed on a morning.
Yeah.
You know, let's go to the lounge. And I think that interaction with other people, you know, as much as they've got dementia, and it's not a disease that unfortunately you can reverse, it just brings out the best in people in that environment. And
do you also sort of help them then to sort of carry on their own little bits of independence?
Yeah, so, you know, with dementia, unfortunately, they tend to forget things that they've done in the past, and just from having the conversations with family members or friends, they can tell us what they used to like to do, or music that they used to listen to.
Yeah.
We've got a lady who her favourite song is Pretty Woman.
Oh.
Soon as you turn that song on, she's up singing, dancing, you know, but she would never ask for it because she can't remember it. But as soon as it comes on, she loves it.
Do you think that's what you're good at then sometimes, is actually seeing that you can bring some memory back in a funny sort of way by the things that you do? And you'll probably notice like one resident, and then you'll think, never knew they like that, and look, that's triggered a memory. Yeah,
and I think it's the amount of people that bring their loved ones into a care home and they say, it's fine, my mum will sit in her room, or my dad will sit in his room. And for us, our job is to encourage them to come into the lounge. And if they're happy to stay in the room, absolutely fine. But we do encourage that socialising, interacting with other residents. And I would say 9 times out of 10, they enjoy it. It's just because they've got stuck in a bit of a rut at home.
I mean, as well, let's just talk about the rooms. I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah. I've stayed in worse hotels. The rooms are beautiful.
They are.
Ensuite.
I mean, the thing is as well, it seems like they're able to make them their own as well.
Oh, so what I tend to say is to the loved ones, if there's any kind of ornaments or photos that's significant to the resident, then please bring them in, do whatever you want to the room, as long as they feel comfortable. It has to be homely. Yeah.
It's funny because I know my nan had a favourite blanket.
Yeah.
And that had to be there.
Yeah.
I think actually the trouble for the carers was simply taking that off to wash it and remove it back again. Sometimes you get that, don't you?
Yeah, or own bedding. Bring their own bedding in.
That's it.
Pillows.
Yeah.
They love pillows.
I think I might be with them on the pillows.
Oh, I get it. Completely get it.
So just imagine someone's watching this, they're a family, and they're taking that daunting step of first thinking, I think my parent, my family member needs care now.
Yeah.
How do you help them with that first process?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Reach out, speak. I always encourage, you need to kind of speak up. I think people leave it too late until they're really struggling, they're really stressed, and, they're not thinking straight. So I would do encourage, just come and have a look around, come to the care home, have a look around. Don't just look at ours, look at all care homes. You need to feel comfortable in the decision. It's a massive decision.
It's huge.
So big, and they need to feel comfortable in making that decision. But any questions that you've got, write them down. I'll answer them the best I can. Come and have a look around the care home, come and see what happens. Visit different times of the day, just to see, like on a morning, it's manic in a care home, trying to get residents up, washed and dressed. Can I have breakfast? Can we have the bells are going? visit at that time, if just to see actually what goes on in a care home.
The other thing as well, I would say about CQC.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't know what that is until they've got to this point where they're going to have to put a parent or relative in a care home.
Yeah.
Just explain to them what their role is briefly, what they do, and the reports.
Yeah, so we were inspected just before Christmas. We had CQC. It was an unannounced visit. Came to us, we had a 2-day inspection. So they just kind of go around your home, go through your governance, just to ensure that you're compliant, that you're meeting their standards, you're meeting their regulations. And we got a really good report, can I just say.
Do you know, I wouldn't have expected anything less, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I think some people are quite scared of, CQC, but I just think, realistically, they're there to do a job. They're there to ensure your loved ones are safe, that the care home's running as it should be.
But people can go online, can't they, and see the reports and things as well. So it's like transparent.
Absolutely. And, as you walk into the care home, anybody that's had the CQC inspection, the report's available to read. It's available online. So you just need to kind of type in the care home name and, CQC, and the report comes up.
I mean, the elderly in particular, we say elderly, but there are other people with other needs that maybe not be so older, so older, who still need that care. Are they the people that you also help look after? Yeah,
so we had a resident who was in his late 50s. This was in a previous care home I'd worked in, but he was in his late 50s and he had a diagnosis of dementia. And he'd just become forgetful. He had a really high-end job. He was really high up, and he started becoming forgetful. His work had said to him, "This isn't like you. What's going on?" He said, "I don't know. I just don't feel right." He'd gone to his doctor. They kind of dismissed it and said, "I think it's your work. You're quite stressed." And he had to go private. He went private, and by the time he'd got seen and had the head scans and whatever else, he got a diagnosis of dementia at 54. So his mum, he ended up going back to live with his mum, and she was elderly. He started coming for respite, and then, unfortunately he passed away before he was 60.
That's really quite devastating.
Yeah, so us as a care home, we do meet the needs of, we do cater for younger people if we feel that they would fit into that environment.
But the elderly, I know that I have a bit of a soft spot for them because I love to hear their tales as well.
Yeah.
You must hear some right grand tales from those residents.
You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that they say. They've all got a life. So, when they come into the care home, people seem to forget this person was once a nurse or a teacher or, I don't know, we've just had a gentleman that I've just done a story on. He came from London. He was a sign writer. I've got some of his pictures up in the home. He's done wood carving, but he's so humble. And when I say to him, "These pictures are amazing," he's like, "You could do that." No, I couldn't. I really couldn't do that. They're just not bothered.
No, not fazed by anything, are
Nothing,
they?
no.
But
no.
they're also the life and soul of the party as well.
Yeah,
I know this.
They love a
see
party.
them.
Any excuse for a party. Yeah, Friday afternoon, they're like, is it wine time? Oh, they love a drink. Yeah.
Bless their heart. Well, I think that you've given us definitely a different side to the care industry.
Yeah.
Which I love because, elderly people are valued. They
Absolutely.
are precious.
Yeah.
They're like little treasures. And I think what you do in your job is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And I hope that Cayton View keeps on like this and the others in your group for many years to come because you're doing an absolutely smashing job. And I think actually you are a good benchmark for what other care home establishments need to aspire to.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Think for the future.
Yeah.
But just to leave, Leah, because I love to find out about the people I interview as well. And any of the residents, they might be watching now. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, we love you. I just want them to know what's something they might not know about Leah, the manager there. What do they not know about you?
Oh, to be honest, I'm quite open really with them, but I think, I don't know, I like walking.
Oh.
Big hills. Ben Nevis, love the lakes. I think when you've got a job like I've got, I think it's just nice to kind of get out there, leave your phone, you can't get a signal out there, and just walk it off.
Leah, I reckon you might get some of the residents, if they're watching now, I think you might say, well, I want to go walking up the hill with you.
Absolutely, they're more than welcome.
Leah, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure. And, long may you continue doing this wonderful job that you do.
Thank you.